Hello everybody, and welcome to another studio session. Today we're going to prepare a full techno set on the Volca Sample. This video is not a tutorial, but it's still beginner friendly. If I go over something too quickly and you get confused, feel free to let me know in the comments. I will do my best to explain. The inspiration behind this video is the fact that I'm still getting messages from people who decided to purchase the Volca Sample because they saw my videos and they got inspired to make some music of their own. And I find it very humbling, but it's also quite a nice feeling. So I decided to demystify my workflow a little bit, let you in on some of my ideas and tips and tricks. And without any further introductions, let's start working on our set. So like I said, we're not going too deep into the functionality and how to execute certain things, but if you hold the function button and go to the slot number 16, you can clear the entire sequence that was there before, and that gives you a clean slate to start your track. So if we go into the step mode and pressing the function button, I press the step number 10, we're now on the part number 10. Part, track, I will use those interchangeably throughout this entire video. On the track 10, I usually place my kicks. So for techno, let's place them on 1, 5, 9, 13. That gives us the classic 4 on the floor pattern. Everybody uses that. Everyone uses that at least once in their life. And let me choose a kick sample. So now we click play. Also, the sample pack that I'm using in this video is called Inspiration Kit. It's available for purchase on my Patreon page in the shop area. If you like what you hear and you would like to follow along with this video, you know what to do. So, having our kick, I'm going to press this button over here. When I press it, we go to the track number 9, part number 9. And on part number 9 in techno, I usually do either hi-hats or bass. I'm doing that because since we have the 4 on the floor pattern, we can't really place the snare on it. I'm going to bump the tempo to something like, let's say, 128. 128 is perfectly fine for techno. Let me think, what can we do? I think we should go with the hi-hats, so I'm going to place them like this. That's not a hi-hat, but we can make it work. With the swing knob, we can add a little bit more groove to it. I usually keep it in between 10 and 15 because when you go over that, it's a little bit too pronounced and it's a specific case use. If I go below that, it's way too subtle and it's barely noticeable. Okay, so another thing that I like to do is to make a rolling hat, which is just every single step. Let's choose a hi-hat sample. And we already have this particular feel, right? And now when you press the function button and press the 12th step, we enter the motion sequencing mode. That means that we can record any of those knobs and basically automate them to add some more variation. So usually with those rolling hats, I like to play with the hi-cut knob. Because it adds a little bit more dynamic than just keeping it open at all times, right? So I'm going to press record. A very good habit to have is to develop the muscle memory for saving very often. And the way you do it on the Volca Sample is function, right, and you pick a slot on which you want to save your sequence. So now with that, we can move to 7 and add a clap. I place my claps on 5 and 13 for this example. This clap is way too long, so we can shorten it either with the length knob or the decay knob. The difference between the two is that the length knob will cut it off very aggressively, and the decay will be more of a gradual fade. So let's hear what both of them do in practice. So first the length knob and the decay knob. It's far less aggressive, so depending on what you're going for, you can use either one of these. And I also made it a little bit lower in pitch with the speed knob. So now we can start thinking about some other elements for our techno track. The way that I usually do it is exiting the step mode, just pressing play, letting the sequence run. I'm just spamming the hell out of the part that I'm on, browsing through the samples, messing with the settings, and trying to find something that will inspire me. So let's do exactly that. Right, so now just like that, we have some idea. So I'm going to record it. I'm just going to press this button, press play, and record what we just did. And let's cut off the highs a little bit so it's more bassy. And going to the part number 2, we can repeat exact the same step. Let the sequence play, browse through samples, mess with the settings, see what inspires us. So what I did just now was trying to figure out at what pitch I want this sample to play and also how long I want it to be present. Because it's a pretty long sample, but with the decay knob, once again, to make it a little bit smoother, I'm shortening it to fit the groove. And while working on the Volca sample, I'm trying to keep in mind that this is a very limited device when it comes to patterns. It's just 16 steps, so it's one bar that's going to repeat over and over. So instead of trying to cram as many complex things into one bar, I'm trying to think of interplay between elements. So what I mean by that is that this sound will play only once at a very specific point, and I'm going to the next part add something else that will complement this sound, but also will sound okay on its own without this sound being present. We have this recorded, right? I'm going to the part number 3, and same thing, browse through samples, find something. I have this sound that could fill this sequence quite nicely, but it's way too short, right? So one of the things we can do is try to pitch it an octave lower. And I found out that pitching it -32 or +32 means it's pitched up or down an octave. And the other way you could do it is just hold the function button, turn the speed knob, and then it snaps to semitones. So -12 while holding the function button would mean an octave. Okay, I like it in the same spot that we have this high-pitched little one shot. So I'm going to mute it for a second and let's see how that sounds. A bit louder. Let's record it. Oh, I did it way too early, as you can hear. So going back to the step mode, I can erase it and place it in the correct spot. I like it, and during the live performance we could play with opening the filter. Yeah. Okay, so right now let's unmute the high-pitched thing that we had, and let's just check if we want to keep it, if we want to move it, or if we want to replace it with something else. Because honestly, I enjoy the lower part way more than the high-pitched part. So yeah, let's check it in the mix and let's see. Oh, wrong part. Okay, I think I like it in this particular spot, so let's add some reverb to it. To do that, we press the function button, we press the reverb at the same time, and we press the step that we want to put the reverb on. We have this knob, which is called reverb mix, and turning it, of course, determines how much reverb there is. And we already have a vibe going, right? And yet we still have a few more parts left. So what do we do with them? We can do the same thing that we did previously, so just spam the hell out of the part, browse the samples, see what else we can find. So we have this sound. Keeping it very short, around 15 to 20, I'm going to let it run and then try to figure out which step I want to make longer to make an accent. Okay, so I think step 4 could sound nice. First we have to turn on the motion sequence. Then we hold the step that we want to make longer and we turn the knob. And I think that sounds quite nice. And also we can play with the high cut, so let's make sure that this particular step is at max. It's a little bit jarring. Let's try maybe around 100. Yeah. On parts like this, where it's just the straight, short staccato line that's very constant, I like to pan it to give it a little bit more interest. So we can, once again, hold the step that we want to automate, and with the pan knob, we can start adding values to it. So let's say 15 right, 15 to the left. Then this step could be dead center. This could be dead center because it's our accented note. And then we can go from the left, let's say 17 this time, left, and 17 right. And then we can go here and maybe make it a little bit wilder. So like 25 left and 25 right. And you don't have to do it alternating, it's up to you. You can create intricate panning patterns just by messing around like this. Let's say that from the step 9 we're going to ditch the alternating pattern and let's go 20 right, 12 right, 17 left, or 16 or whatever. And then this is going to be dead center, 5 to the left, 14. Just have fun with it, experiment. You don't have to care and you don't have to nail everything perfectly at the first go around. This may sound like garbage, we may change it completely, we may get rid of it. Who cares? Let's try it. Okay, I would like to have some more movement on the right side of my ear near the sequence. So yeah, let's turn it all the way to the right at this point. Okay, it's a bit jarring, let's pull it back. And because we didn't use any extreme values, it's not as jarring when it goes around, and it still adds a little bit of dynamic, a little bit of movement. Okay, so having a groove like this, what else can we do? One of the things that I like to do in those situations where I have a pretty decent groove going and still some tracks left, I like to add some more drums, because when you add some more cymbals and maybe some white noise and stuff like that, it can really help with building energy in your track. So let me first do it, and then I will demonstrate you the point that I'm trying to make right now. So on the part 6, I'm going to... Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. We can pitch it up like this, and it sounds a little bit more like a cymbal, right? We can either do 1, 5, 9, 13, so it goes along with the kick. Like that, or we can align it with the hi-hat, which I think that I prefer a little bit more. I don't really like the start of the sample in this context, so we can push it a little bit further. The point I was trying to make is that it will help make your track more dynamic. So let's mute some of the elements and let me show you. We have this right now, right? And then the energy keeps building, right? And after a while, we have this. And hey, it's a nice groove. And this groove is going, and then we can transition. Introduce this. And we're grooving, right? And we add a clap, but it still feels like we're in the build-up phase, right? So we let it play it out a little bit. Oh, that wasn't supposed to be here. But as you can hear, it adds a little bit more energy to the track. It helps it vibe a little bit more, right? And then, for example, if we want to lower the energy of the track, and the energy of the track is way lower, and for example, we can mute the rolling hat and the snare, and we can introduce this other hi-hat instead of our previous hat, right? And that creates a little bit of a different vibe, right? And that was the point that I was trying to make. Sounds like this may not sound like they're very important, but in all actuality, it's details like this that will help you take your jams to the next level. So I think that our work on this track is done.
So, the initial idea for this video was to prepare a full techno set on the Volca Sample and let you in on the process. As I'm editing this video right now, I'm noticing that it's already around 20 minutes long, and I don't want to make another hour-long video because who has time to watch that? But if you would like to see the rest of this session, please let me know down below in the comments, and I will make sure to edit it and post it. Also, consider subscribing to this channel, and if you wish to support me, you can check out my Patreon or buy me a coffee. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope that you've learned something, I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Take care!